Hey guys, I am back and today we are painting my Kanye Bear. This is part 2 of my 3D modeling sculpt and coloring. So right now I am in the program Procreate, which I love. Earlier this year they released an update that now you can paint 3D objects in Procreate. So now I'm like, okay, we're gonna paint in Procreate, of course. So right now I'm painting his head. I couldn't find my illustrated art I did with him, so I'm just going off of like memory of how I want him painted. And this is just gonna be like a reference that I'm gonna use once I print him out on my 3D printer. I will use this as a reference, so when I go to paint I know exactly how I want him to look. So with Procreate, I have like a love and hate relationship with their 3D painting process. It could be a little bit glitchy, and I have to make sure or remember to put like some things on a layer by themselves. So for example, the head is like broken up into pieces, so when I color, it doesn't like color on the other part, if that makes sense. So for example, the eyes, I have those isolated, so when I color it, it won't get on his actual head. I could just color the whole sphere. I didn't do it with his hat because that's just like all one shape, but for example his body, that's all one layer, one layer. So when I paint him, it's not getting on the stand or it's not getting on his head, so I don't have to worry about trying to make sure I don't overlap. So right now I'm just painting his body, and then my favorite part, which is coming up, is the drip. There it goes. So now I'm trying to figure out like, okay, I want like multicolors coming off of all the drips. So I chose yellow, red, purple, orange. I think I threw some green in there too, just to give it some like psychedelic type of bright and bold. That's why I wanted like a neutral color for his body, so it don't really like clash like that. So I would say this is my favorite part, which is coloring the drips, because it was just so fun to see colors. I'm a colorful person, believe it or not, even though my favorite color is black, but just adding a pop of color to something really brings it out. So now I'm just trying to do my base colors, and then later on I will begin shading. This will be my first time shading on the 3D model, just to make it look a little bit more realistic. I know when I go to paint this in real life, I will not do no shading. It will be flat colors, because I haven't gotten to airbrushing yet. So shout out to all the airbrushes out there, because I heard and seen that it's tedious. But anyway, so back to my drips. I am just trying to make sure they look a little bit unified, but more organic too. I don't want it to look perfect, but at the same time I don't want it to look janky, you know what I'm saying? So now I'm just I was thinking about having some of the drip on the head, but it didn't look right, so I'm just like, nope, we just gonna have the drip coming out of his head like that. Call it a day. Sometimes bad art is good art, it don't have to make sense. So now you guys, I'm doing the base too, because I want since half his body is dripping, I did want those to be colored too. So I'm just doing the outside. I'm just laying down colors, organically. There's no method to it. Making sure it looks right from the front and everything. And then I move on to his hat. I wanted his hat to be the same color of his clothes or his body. So I want that to be a little like, put together, since we are dealing with the different colors on the drip. I did want some sort of matching components in this piece. And then now I'm doing the belt and then the buckle. This was kind of a bit hard, because like you had to like move this model around to make sure you get like all sides and make sure it's painted, and sometimes it glitches and then it turns white for some reason. I don't know why. So now I had to go back and make sure all of the spots are painted correctly. And then I am painting the last drip, and I can't wait to show you how the final the final thing once it's shaded, because it's the shading for me. I feel like shading really makes and brings out like all of the features, because this is just like a flat base color. You know what I'm saying? I always do my basics first. So if I don't like that color, I could just easily, change it without messing it up. So now, as you can see on the base, it's just like these yellow streaks. That was an accident, but I kind of like that. Like I said, it's kind of glitchy, so it did that, and I'm like, you know what, I like how that looks. It kind of looks like the base is broken. And then now moving on to his eyes. Now I know I said the drip was my favorite part, but I think I'm about to change it. His eyes, oh my god, his eyes was so easy to do, and I love, like, it brought out, I think his eyes brought the whole thing together. Like, that's my favorite part of the Kanye Bear, is the eyes. So yes, I love the eyes. And then at the bottom of the base, as you can see, I wanted to look like some of the paint did get on the base, so it's like a little bit more cohesive, and to give the illusion that it dropped on the base. So then I'm doing his nose, and then now I'm starting to shade. This is my first time shading a 3D model in Procreate, so I'm just like trying to figure out, okay, what I'm doing. So I'm just laying down some basic shading to give it more depth and to make it look more realistic. Now, like I told you, I will not be shading once I paint this in real life. This is just for looks, because I just want to try it out, you guys. And so I can only imagine, shading this in real life. Yikes. So yeah, pretty much I'll be just shading, making sure I do my shadows and highlights to bring out the features more. And I think my favorite part of the shading is the highlights, because that makes it like pop. Like, the shading brings it depth, but the adding the light and the highlights, it just makes it pop. It almost makes it glow in a sense. And then now you can see it's glitching again. Now it's turning white, and I'm like, why is it turning white? Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, I do like Nomad, painting in Nomad too, but it's just like with Procreate, since I draw in it, it's like I want to draw in it because I like drawing on Procreate. But with Nomad, I do like how you can have like materials as your brushes. So with Procreate, I have to like manually make things metallic or not. But now I'm adding highlights. As you can see, his eyes is popping out more, and then I put a highlight around the indentation of his face to bring that out more too. And I'm gonna smooth it out and blend it in a little bit, so it's, a little bit more cohesive. And then I'm adding more highlights to it to make it look, more realistic, which I love. And then I'm adding a little bit more shading to bring it a little bit more depth. And then I'm lowering the opacity down so it won't look too harsh, so it won't look like he's been through some things, but he has. So yeah. And then again, just cleaning up the areas that I see it needs to be cleaned up. And then I'm doing the buckle, trying to add some highlights and give it an illusion that it is, metallic. And then now I'm just adjusting my layers. And then my favorite part is coming up. Yep, there it goes, adding the lights. I love adding lights. Oh my god, look at that. That just made me happy. Like, I love it. So thank y'all for watching, you guys. Part 3, I'm printing this out. Y'all want to see it? Let me know in the comments. Thanks. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos.